Hi, I'm Peter.seroter. I'm a local mortgage lender here in Phoenix.
And I'm Christine Martin, a realtor with Mohican Associates.
We wanted to get together here today and share with you a success story that we recently had. Christine recently introduced me to some clients that were going to be selling their home. They weren't sure if they were going to buy yet, but she was going to be handling the listing. She's going to tell you a little bit about this success story and how it made a huge impact in their lives.
Well, it was really awesome. First, they weren't sure if they wanted to buy. They definitely wanted to sell their home. They knew that. And we listed their home for a good price. We had multiple offers in today's real estate market, which is unheard of. We had multiple offers above list price, and we ended up going with a cash offer that was $15,000 over our list price, and we even got the buyer to be willing to allow them to stay in the home 30 days rent-free.
That's amazing. So we hear so many stories about prices being reduced left and right. Why do you think that you were able to get so many offers and at or above the list price?
Well, I marketed the home well, so it was on a unique lot. I did some drone footage. I always do professional photography for sure. I held open houses, and I'm a great negotiator, so my communication with the agents on the other side led us to a place where we were able to get the most money possible for our clients.
Well, knowing the market like you do you think it had anything to do with how you priced the home?
Well, absolutely. I priced the home according to what the market showed the home, was worth.
Didn't get too aggressive on that, shooting for the stars?
No, absolutely not. In today's market especially, really in any market, but in today's market, the home has to be priced well. If it's not, it's going to reduce your pool of buyers.
Absolutely. And the awesome thing about this story, so she was able to get this offer accepted so quickly, and the sellers pretty quickly realized they wanted to buy something, or at least wanted to see what was out there, because they were netting a really nice amount from appreciation. So Christine took them around, started to show them some homes, and
we found an amazing home that is double the size of the home that we just sold, has an amazing backyard with gorgeous views, a pool and a spa, and we got a killer deal on this home.
So let's tell them a little bit more about this killer deal. So you got it below the asking price.
Yes, we initially went in with an offer that was under the asking price. We also asked for some money to buy down the interest rate, and I'm going to let you talk a little bit about that.
Well, I really appreciate the fact that Christine had an open mind to this, because a lot of agents aren't really too familiar with this option and don't really see the benefit to a buyer. But Christine was able to negotiate what's called a 3-2-1 buy down. And that essentially gave the buyers an interest rate that was 3% below the current market rate to start out. So they were able to get into this home at a very, very affordable monthly payment. And that concession was negotiated by Christine and basically part of the deal. Like if they were going to lower the price or pay for closing costs, things like that. Yes. She just knew exactly what to ask for and had to explain it to the listing agent. But what it did was make the payments much, much more affordable.
Absolutely. And then when we had our inspection period, we discovered some things that my clients weren't happy with. And so we also negotiated for a big amount of money to cover some of the expenses of repair costs. And that amount was actually greater than the amount of closing costs. And we didn't want to leave any money on the table. So we got the seller, to pay $14,000 to cover the 3-to-1 interest rate buy down. We also got the seller to cover the closing costs. And then we also had the seller
reduce the price.
So yeah. It was an amazing, amazing deal.
Absolutely. The fact that the buyers were able to use all the appreciation they gained through a super hot market, take that to move into a home that's the right size for their growing family in a neighborhood they really like, and to do that at the same monthly payment that they had in their prior home. I don't know about you, but I think that's amazing.
Well, it was like $15 more a month, right?
Okay, all right.
Come on,
pretty
Peter.
good though, pretty good. I think a lot of people would be happy. It's only a $15 increase for double the size home, a pool, and that yard they got.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Peter, I have a question for you. Why is the housing market here in Phoenix a tricky market?
Great question. We actually heard that exactly from people at our open house over the weekend when they're walking in. It is a tricky market, and it's tricky for a couple reasons. So in 2022, we've seen interest rates double from what they started the year with. That's obviously going to cause a big impact on people's monthly budget.
Absolutely.
Not only that, home prices went up continually through the year. So interest rates doubling plus home prices going up quickly made things unaffordable for people. So what we're kind of seeing right now is more of a need for creativity. It won't last forever. Interest rates going up is a side effect of inflation. Inflation in Phoenix is actually leading the nation. So we're feeling it here more than other places. But as interest rates are starting to come down, we are kind of seeing a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We're seeing increased buyer demand and activity right now. So that's some encouragement, but affordability is still a big issue here.
It sure is.
Another thing that's really tricky about this Phoenix market right now, and Christine can speak to this better than I can, but people have some unrealistic expectations when it comes to their payments, to the price they're going to get for their home, what they're going to buy it for, and things like that.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about sellers. Sellers, have been used to driving the bus here in Phoenix Metro for the past couple of years, and some of them don't realize there's been a shift in the market, or they're not willing to accept that, and so they're listing their homes for way more than they should be. And what they're finding is that their homes are sitting on the market for far too long, and sometimes not even having any people come through to take a look at it, because savvy buyers have savvy realtors who know the market and aren't going to take their clients through a home if it's not priced where it needs to be.
If you see one that's priced like that, does that also kind of let you know that might be an agent or seller that's not going to negotiate or kind of up to speed on things?
Absolutely. I mean, I will, if my client truly wants to see the home, of course I'm going to take them through, but I'm going to give them, a little insight and let them know, this is potentially what we could be up against. And do you want to become emotionally attached to a home if we can't negotiate a great deal on it, or not even a great deal, but a fair deal?
Yeah, absolutely. That's huge.
Yes.
How do buyers have unrealistic expectations right now?
Well, buyers are hearing that, it's a great time to negotiate. And so sometimes they have, these unrealistic expectations where they think they should be able to shave a huge amount of money off the list price and negotiate, lots of money in concessions for repairs. And in some cases, that does happen, but, there's a fine balance there, really.
I know I see unrealistic expectations showing in the monthly payments. A lot of times you'll have buyers come out and they say they want to pay $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, and it's just not realistic. And it's part of our job is to explain to someone who's looking to buy a home what different elements are affecting them right now, what they can realistically expect for all these things. And it's not always about what somebody wants to hear. We have to tell them the truth. That's something I really love about you, and we share that. We're going to tell you the truth no matter what, even if it's not something that sounds great. It's going to be the truth.
Absolutely. Well, as an agent, I have a fiduciary responsibility to my clients, and that's to make sure that they have all of the accurate information. So
love it. So you had you kind of mentioned this about different sellers and some being unrealistic and things like that. Phoenix had a really high percentage of iBuyers during this last couple of years.
Yes.
They were buying a huge percentage of the homes here. So
for way too much money.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were paying cash and rising the prices up. So with that now, a lot of them have flooded the market with listings.
Yes.
So not only are there more listings than usual, they're also listing them for less than what they paid.
They are. They want to get rid of them. These are private entities with copious amounts of inventory that they've overpaid. So they're looking to unload them. And the problem with some of these listings is that they're not flexible and not willing to negotiate. So that can make it really hard for buyers.
Well, not only that, what do you think that a buyer is going to feel about buying a home when they're hearing on the news that, they're getting, prices are going down by this much, or they're going to be, possibly getting it for less than what they bought it for, or something like that.
I mean, that sounds scary, right? But it's not accurate. I mean, you need to have all of the information, and that's just a little snippet of what's truly going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think people that in most cases will be selling this year after they already bought this year, those are very unusual situations, but the consumer doesn't know that. They hear 10% of listings right now in Phoenix are for less than what the buyer paid for the home. Mm-hmm. That's very scary sounding.
That is very scary. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So these are some of the forces that we have at play right now in Phoenix that affect the psyche of the buyer. It affects the sellers, affects the agents, loan officers. All of us are feeling this right now.
Yes. If you have questions, reach out to us. We're happy to help.
So we were kind of alluding to this a little bit earlier, but right now in Phoenix, it's especially important who you're working with. So in your experience, Christine, right now, why does it matter so much who you're working with?
Right. Well, I'll speak on the realtor piece, and then I'm going to defer to you for the lender piece. But as far as a real estate agent, it's so important that you have an agent who knows the local market and even the market that is in your specific area that you're looking to either buy or sell in. Like, take for instance a seller. As an agent, I need to ensure that I educate my sellers on what the market is doing in their specific neighborhood so that they know what the comparables show in how we price their home truly matters. If we price the home too high, we're not going to get people and traffic in to see the home. And obviously, we certainly don't want to price it too low, right? So that's one factor for having a good agent. Also, real estate is all about negotiating, and behind that is communication. So it's truly important that you have an agent who communicates incredibly well. I work to ensure that I have great rapport with the agent on the other side, whether I'm representing a buyer or a seller. And while I do have a fiduciary responsibility to my clients, I want to have the agent on the other side feel as though we're a team, because ultimately we have the same goal, and that is to get the best deal possible for our clients.
Well, and question about that, because a lot of agents, especially in Phoenix, got into becoming a real estate agent the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. So they've only experienced a market when it was trending upward. So, do you think that never experiencing a time with concessions being offered and some of these programs is a hindrance to certain agents?
Oh, absolutely. Because if they don't know, we need to have a tool belt full of tools to be able to negotiate the best deal possible for our clients. And agents who have never had to negotiate like this, they don't quite know what they should be asking for, or what they should be shooting for. So that is absolutely detrimental to a buyer or a seller.
Do you think some agents actually kind of feel bad if they offer a lower or under the list price or things like that? They just kind of don't understand how it works?
Absolutely, for sure. So it's really important that you have somebody experienced to represent you, whether you're buying or selling a home.
And someone fearless too.
Fearless,
which you are.
Absolutely.
You are, yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So on the lending side of things, I'd have to say that being up to speed with different programs and different ways that I can be creative to make a home affordable is the most important thing that I can do to stand out right now.
And you're amazing with that. You just worked a great deal for us and for our client, and that was awesome.
Thank you. Well, again, I appreciate the fact you were open-minded to that, because we've hit on it multiple times so far today that affordability is the biggest problem that we're facing in Phoenix. So how can I help someone be able to get a roof over their head at a payment that they can afford? And you might get a different payment if you work with me or a lender down the street. So it's really important who you're selecting to work with. Good agents oftentimes have really good lenders that they work with and they know that they can trust. I know Christine vetted me out quite a bit before she was willing to send any referrals my way. So.
I did a background check on you, by the way.
Luckily I passed, so that's good.
I'm just kidding, I really didn't, but almost.
Well, and we had mentioned this on Saturday. We did a little video and we talked about it matters who you're working with in Phoenix. So that actually came about because of someone who came into our open house that had a very unique story.
Yes, so they have a home that they want to sell, but they also want to buy. and they put offers in on 2 different properties. In the offer was contingent upon the sale of their home, and they got turned down 2 times in this market. This is really unheard of. It's a buyer's market right now, and so it leads me to believe that their agent perhaps is not savvy on what's going on in the market and wasn't able to put a deal together. And this cost them, 2 homes that they love.
I do believe one of the homes they were under contract, and they couldn't get their home sold in time, and they couldn't get it extended, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so they lost money on inspection, appraisal, all those things.
Yes.
And their agent couldn't negotiate to extend that contract so they could get their home sold. Also, the question is, what are they trying to sell their home for that's holding up the purchase of a new home? So it does matter who you're working with. It could be very costly. It could keep you from your dream home.
Absolutely.
Great opportunity.
Absolutely. So I say, anytime you're looking to buy or sell a home, make sure you interview agents and lenders. This is the biggest purchase most people will make, biggest purchase or just financial transaction. It's really important that you work with somebody that you trust and who's going to do a good job and have your back, through the end.
Absolutely. So that brings me to an interesting question here that I have for you, Christine. With inventory kind of leveling off here in Phoenix, we saw this giant spike when interest rates really started going up drastically. Inventory really started going up. People weren't buying. Everyone was throwing their home on the market, trying to get rid of it. Now that's leveled off. Buyer demand's not super great right now because rates are high, but the listings are not happening either. So we've got kind of this stalemate happening. So if interest rates start to go down more and they go back to the 4s, for instance, they're already almost at the 5s right now, but if they go back into the 4s, what do you think is going to happen?
I think we're going to have a frenzy again, and I think it's going to shift from a buyer's market to a seller's market.
And what does that mean for somebody?
So what that means is for buyers, truly, I don't say this, just to say it, but I think right now we are in a sweet spot for buyers. I think, we're at the end of the year and we've got a situation where, most sellers who are on the market, they need to sell. And so with the rates being high, this has killed some buyers' potential to buy a home. So there's opportunity to negotiate a great deal for buyers.
Yeah, so if you think about that and you negotiate a sale right now, you get the price that you're looking for, you get some concessions you're looking for.
And you get the home that you're looking for. You don't have to just take, the scraps that are left over.
Yes, and rates go down to the 4s, guess what? You can refinance.
Absolutely.
You get the home that you want, all the concessions, all the repairs, everything, sleep on it, and you can always refinance down the line. So, you almost have more to gain right now, although it's kind of counterintuitive. When interest rates are high, buyers are in control.
Yes.
So if you can utilize some of these creative financing tools, they can kind of bridge the gap until rates go back down. You'll definitely come out ahead. People who bought earlier in this year, they had absolutely no wiggle room in the price. They got 0 concessions offered. They couldn't sleep on it. They had to make an offer often without even going through the home.
And waiving their inspections, not to mention their appraisal contingency.
Look how expensive the repairs were on this recent deal we just closed.
Yes.
I mean, that would have cost that family $10,000+ out of their pockets soon
Easily.
after moving in.
Yes.
So they would have overpaid, and they would have had to pay for closing costs and all those things. So, you might have a little bit higher interest rate on your loan, but I think at the end of the day, you're going to pay a lot less.
Yes.
So obviously we talked about several things today. We would love to get to know you. If you're looking to buy in Phoenix, if you're renting right now, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Whatever's good for you, we'll find a way to connect, and we'll discuss your situation and see how we can make a difference for you.
Yes, we're happy to help.